What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix for Week 6 of the 2021 CFL season. I'm Ryan Coop here with your defense preview for this week. If you missed it, go back, check out. I've got your quarterback, running back, and wide receiver previews out already, so you can check those out on the channel as well. But let's talk defenses for week number 6. Interesting position where, you get one of the top ones, you really get the bang for your buck. Otherwise, you have a wildly disappointing day. Here's the options for this week. Last week on defense, you had 3 teams put up 13, 13, and 14 points, and then the others, the highest point total was 3. So you really got to hit the nail on the head to succeed at defense. And here's the options I like, I'm cautious on, and don't like. I really like the Bombers' defense. 47.30 is the salary, so it is at the higher end, but they have delivered in the majority of their games this year. They're averaging 11.2 points. They put up in their 5 games this year 16, 11, 13, 3, and 13 again, and 13 against the Riders last week. And there were concerns about Saskatchewan coming into the year in their offensive line, and how well they would be able to hold up with all of the pieces missing. And they did pretty well through the first couple games, and then they faced the Bombers pass rush last time around and caused nightmares for that Riders offense. So this is a big play Bombers defense that's putting up the interceptions. They've got the ability to pile up the sacks against this Riders O-line. I really like the Bombers defense again this week to put up a solid point total. I think it might be tough to hit that 11.8 mark maybe again, because Fajardo, I think, will get back on track a little bit, but I'm fairly confident in their ability to put up a big total for you again this week. I also like the Ticats defense. They had the biggest day last week of 14 points against the Argos, who they're facing again. 33.91 is the salary. The Ticats defense is starting to turn the corner a little bit. Their first 2 games, they put up 4 points and 3 points. The last 2 games, they put up 7 and 14. And I think it's helped that, they've got all of their pieces back on the defensive line now. They've got their defensive backs are pretty healthy right now as well. And they've got players making big plays. And their offense has gotten back on track, which allows the defense to rest a little more to make those big plays. So it's been a noticeable difference in their defense ever since Dane Evans took over coming out of that bye week, and they made their offense more efficient. So I like the Ticats defense. I like them in this matchup against Toronto again because with Nick Arbuckle starting, something we've seen through the past couple of weeks is especially that week 4 game against the Bombers, or week 3, sorry. Arbuckle struggling to hold on to the ball with a lot of fumbles in that game. So if Hamilton can force those again and, get some pressure on them and force the turnovers, they should be able to get you at least your 8.5 points in the rematch. I also really like the BC defense coming off the bye. They do face an Ottawa team that seems to maybe have gained some life on offense with Dom Davis at quarterback. But I like the Lions defense because they have been one of the more dominant defenses in a couple games. They've forced a lot of turnovers. They put up 10 points against this Ottawa offense a couple weeks ago. And, Dom Davis, I think, could put up a solid point total. So you may not get points from the points allowed for BC's defense, but I think they can get some sacks. That Ottawa O-line isn't fantastic. And I think they can get some turnovers because while Davis can throw a couple touchdowns and use his legs, well, he also is known to throw a couple of interceptions. So I like BC's defense at $3,200 to cover you that 8-point value. The one I'm putting in the yellow light category is Edmonton. 36.71 salary. They're averaging just 3.5 points on the year. And this one may be a bit of a stretch, but they've had, in week 1, they had 6 points. Since then, 0, 6, and 2. So nothing fantastic. Definitely not worth the value so far for Edmonton. The reason I like them this week is, if I'm projecting Bo Levi Mitchell to start again, and Bo is not the most mobile quarterback, especially coming off of a broken fibula. I don't expect him to run around out of the pocket a whole lot. And I think that Edmonton pass rush is pretty solid. So I like the potential of them piling up a couple of sacks against the Calgary O-line that struggled last week. So this one, that's why I put it in the yellow category. They haven't gotten the performance that's worth putting them as your defense yet this year, but I could see them potentially having a breakout game against Calgary this week in the rematch, certainly. And then the ones I'm staying away from, Saskatchewan's defense is nearly $6,000. They had a couple great weeks to start the season, but getting 15 points from a defense on any given week is really tough to do. And last week against the Bombers, they put up just 3 points. So they're facing, in my opinion, the best offensive line in the league. Does not give up a ton of sacks, and Zach Collaros doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. So stay away from Saskatchewan's defense this week. Stay away from Calgary's defense, I say, because they have just not put up point totals you need. In the last 2 weeks, they put up 1 point against Winnipeg and -1 points against Edmonton. And they were shredded by Trevor Harris, who threw 400 yards and 4 touchdowns against them. So I say stay away from Calgary's defense, especially in this rematch with Edmonton. And then also staying away from Toronto and Ottawa as well. $3,200 for both of them. Toronto, I thought maybe put in the yellow light category just because they're facing a Hamilton offensive line that has given up a lot of sacks this year. But they put up just 2 points last week, just 3 points the week before, or a game before. It doesn't seem like the Argos are getting a whole ton of pressure on the quarterback necessarily to make those big plays. So given that, there's other options like BC I like at $3,200, I say stay away from the Argos defense and stay away from Ottawa as well. Fantastic game one with 19 fantasy points ever since then. In their last 3 games, they've gone 0-2-0. So you have basically gotten nothing out of this defense. Offense has put a ton of points up against the board on them. So you're not really going to get much value out of them, even at a cheap price point. They don't get a ton of pressure on the quarterback. They don't force a ton of turnovers necessarily. So I expect a big day for BC's offense against them, especially with Ottawa missing some of those key pieces. So I say stay away from the Red Blacks defense. So those are your options on defense. I like the Bombers, Ticats, and Lions. I'm cautiously optimistic on the Elks and saying stay away from the Riders, Stampeders, Argos, and Red Blacks this week. Stay tuned tomorrow. Games start tomorrow, first game of the week, and then a triple header on Saturday. I'll have a depth chart update video out for you tomorrow, going over the depth charts for each of those games, and we'll talk about any of the noticeable pieces involving CFL Fantasy from those. And again, if you haven't already, make sure you go back, check out the quarterback, running back, wide receiver previews as well to help you get all set for setting your lineup for week number 6. That does it for the defensive preview. Do all the YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't. If you have any fantasy questions or comments, put them in the comments section. Tweet them at me at CooperTrooper42. Always love talking CFL Fantasy with anybody. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.